Man, I can't believe we are already through Phase 4. Time flies. So with the release of Black Panther Wakanda Forever, we now have 4 full phases in the MCU. So I thought it'd be a good time for me to rank all 4 of those phases from the worst to the best. Now, what exactly goes into a good MCU phase, what makes a phase good, is very subjective. It is up to the person. To me, it is about the quality of the films, the overall cohesiveness of the phase. You know, do the movies mesh together? Is there a through line? And how good is the payoff? So, with all that being said, number 4 is going to be Phase 1. Now, this phase certainly has a great beginning with Iron Man. Great way to start off the franchise. It was so much better than it had any right to be. And we wouldn't have the MCU that we have today without this movie being as awesome and successful as it was. And a great ending with the Avengers. Great seeing all these characters on screen, teaming up for the first time, fighting this army of Chitauri for the first time, fighting against Loki. Great banter. However, everything in the middle, to me, is decent to bad. I mean, the next best one is First Avenger, which is like in my bottom 10 MCU movies. We have Iron Man 2, which is fun but very messy. We have Thor, which is okay, and then Incredible Hulk, which is incredibly forgettable. So this is one that, despite having a great beginning and end, the rest of Phase 1 was pretty lackluster to me. You could definitely tell they were still trying to find their footing. Very generic villains for the most part, and very formulaic for the most part.
No hard feelings, Point Break. You got a mean swing.
So, my next 2 were close, but for number 3, I had to go with Phase 4. Now, this one is tough to rank against the rest of them because it has by far the most content. None of the other phases had any TV shows. This one has, I think, 8 shows or so, and about the same amount of movies as the other ones. I didn't actually count it, but there's just so much more content overall. But it is also the least cohesive of all of the phases by far. It is really hard to tell, watching this phase, where this franchise is headed. I think we have a pretty good idea now where it's going, but if you just watch all these movies, you're like, these just aren't connecting at all. That's not necessarily a bad thing, at least to me. A lot of people don't like that part of it, but it does kind of help to know where this is going, and for a while there, we didn't. And aside from that, the movies themselves are kind of mixed to me. I think that No Way Home is incredible, but that is by far the best movie in Phase 4. I thought Shang-Chi was good. I thought Eternals was good. Everything else was just pretty much good. Like, there's no really bad movies in Phase 4, and the shows, for the most part, were good, but not amazing. I think the only, like, really great show was Loki. I didn't hate any of the shows either. It's just kind of a very average phase for the most part, with one great movie in No Way Home and one great show in Loki, and lacking in cohesiveness. But it also doesn't have the bottom tier stuff that Phase 1 has, so that's why I put it above it.
That doesn't seem fair.
Number 2 is going to be Phase 2. This one is interesting because it starts off with 2 of the worst movies in the MCU, with Iron Man 3 and Thor: The Dark World. But then it follows those up with 2 of the best movies in the MCU, with Winter Soldier and Guardians of the Galaxy, who both movies completely changed what we thought MCU movies could be and what we thought comic book movies in general could be. I mean, Winter Soldier blew me away when I watched it, and that was the first time that it happened with an MCU movie. I remember walking out of that being like, holy shit, this is for real. Like, the MCU movies can be more than just fun superhero movies. And that was the time where I became a fanatic of the MCU. Up until that point, I was kind of just a casual fan. And then Guardians came out after that, which was very different than Winter Soldier in tone and vibe, but it was also great and also very unique. 2 movies that showed that the MCU is for real, and they can do several different things, and they can make genuinely great movies. And then everything else in Phase 2 was pretty good. I mean, we got Age of Ultron, which I think is the most underrated MCU movie by far. Ant-Man is a ton of fun. You know what? There's actually not that many movies, and I guess there's only 6 movies in the first 2 phases each, so they're not necessarily equal, but there's some good stuff in Phase 2, and showed us that the MCU is more than just fun comic book movies.
What a bunch of a-holes.
But number 1, by far and away, is going to be Phase 3. It's going to be incredibly difficult for any future MCU phase to come even close to to the heights that this phase reached. I mean, it starts off right off the bat with Civil War, which is one of the best MCU movies. Really high stakes, great themes, great emotions, touching on real life, complicated issues. Both characters, you completely understand where they're coming from. And it ends with Infinity War and Endgame, which are incredible accomplishments to where you take all of these different franchises, all these different characters, and find a way to combine them so seamlessly. You get one of the best villains of all time in Thanos. He wins in Infinity War. And then in Endgame, you have the Avengers dealing with the aftermath of that and coming together to try to figure out how to undo that. And then the incredible third act with amazing action and earned fan service. I mean, the fact that they were able to pull off these movies as well as they did and have them be as good and as successful as they were is nothing short of incredible. And then you got fun stuff sprinkled in between there, like Ant-Man and the Wasp and Homecoming. You got Ragnarok, which is a top 5 MCU movie for me. So 4 of the top 5 MCU movies are in this phase. Just an incredible accomplishment what they were able to pull off with phase 3. Nothing is close to this phase so far, and it's going to be very difficult for any other phase to reach it. So there you have it, guys. There's my ranking of all 4 MCU phases. Obviously, it's just my opinion. If you have your opinion, drop a comment below. Let me know your ranking of the 4 phases. And if you enjoy this video, hit the like button. Likes are super important for growing my channel and pushing my videos out to more people. So that would be incredibly helpful. It just takes a second. So if you like it, please do that. If you like my content in general and are looking for more of this kind of stuff, more MCU content, subscribe, hit the notification bell to get notified when I post a video. And it's the month of MCU, so I got more coming. Stay tuned. I'll see you soon.